Welcome back, everybody. This is your three-man booth. Two of us for the Super Bowl edition. I'm Dan Salem with Phil Sember of the Section 323 podcast. We're missing Bud this Super Bowl week, but he already went to Disney ahead of the Super Bowl MVP. So
he did. I think he does this pretty normally. Sometimes he's there during the Super Bowl, and I guess this week he's there the week before.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good time of year to visit. It's bad for those of us in the sports business, but
yeah, I do remember the year the Giants won the first. I think it was the first Super Bowl. He was down in Disney. He actually saw he saw all the Giants down there taking a parade in Magic Kingdom. So that was kind of neat.
Well, that's fun. Well, we're going to talk about who we think will get the parade this year. I don't know if he'll be around to celebrate or not. We'll have to bug him about it.
No, I think he comes back this week, so he won't be down there for the game this year.
Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. Well, then he gets to watch it like the rest of us. I don't know. I'm going to throw a little Super Bowl party. I don't know if you have plans, if you've got any wagers going, but I'd love to.
So this is the third year that I may or may not be watching it by myself. The last 2 years, yeah, right. You know, it's the biggest party of the year. In the last 2 years, I've actually had to watch it by myself because – you got the young kids. It's not like we can go anywhere, but we are going down to a neighbor's house for a little bit. I'm going to try and lobby to stay as long as I can.
See, on the West Coast, the game starts at 3:30 in the afternoon. So we just
how nice is that?
Yeah, we invite some friends over, and it used to be an all-day affair when I was younger, and now it's as long as everyone lasts. But it's definitely great that it starts in the afternoon.
So would you prefer the start at 3:30 or like a 6? I think a 6:30 kickoff is perfect because by the time the game is over, it may or may not be 11. Who knows, depending on how long the game goes. But you're not up till midnight.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
I figure it's over by 10, maybe.
I mean, this is still the latest game of the season.
Is it?
I mean, you know what? The 5 o'clock games start. No, yeah. It's pretty close to it, but I like it because generally, if you get invited to a Super Bowl party, you can roll in at 2:30, and I mean they don't necessarily stop unless everyone's done for. So it's a nice, fun party. But
so you're saying you would hang out after the game is over as long as you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a good party, you can't exactly leave right away. So you need to.
So I guess the benefit of having it. The benefit of having it on the East Coast is when the game's over, everyone get the hell out of my house, right? Game's over, go home.
Plus, any excuse to do like a Sunday's like a fun. If you're in these scenes, Sunday's a big going out afternoon thing in Los Angeles. So the Super Bowl kind of tops that.
So did you hear about the the petition? I guess I don't know where this kid was from, but he's trying to lobby to get it changed to Saturday.
I did read that, and I would be all on board with that. I don't know if it would screw up anything else in terms of their scheduling, but that would be great because the day after the Super Bowl is an awful day to have to work. It's just an awful day.
I read it. There was a secondary article with that, and I forget the exact number, so I'm not going to pretend to know what it is, but there's a good percentage of people that say, I'm going to take off Monday anyway, whether or not I'm sick or not.
I may fall into that boat this year, so we'll see what happens.
You got to pace yourself.
Yes, I agree. So Bud's not joining us today. He gave us his picks. I want us to pick our winner, and we can discuss whether or not the spread matters. It's like a point and a half, depending on the sports book, which is really inconsequential.
When it's that low, it pretty much is. Anything below 3. You're all right. Maybe if your field goal wins it at the last second, but 1 to 1.5, depending on what book you're looking at, really is irrelevant.
I mean, it's a missed extra point. So that's really what you're talking about. So you're basically picking a winner, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're basically picking a winner.
And I want us to hit the over-under, which I think is at 54.5 points. So pretty high. But considering these two teams, that's really debatable. And then maybe we'll pick our MVP, which may or may not be obvious. So
yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts before I share Bud's picks, which I found to be bold and interesting? But
I don't. But if I come up with something in the event as we're talking, I'll chime in.
So Bud picked the 49ers. He likes the 49ers to win. He gave a score of 28-21, so he's going to the under. and he named tight end George Kittle as the MVP of the Super Bowl. Now, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not sure a tight end has ever been named MVP of a Super Bowl. I don't know if a tight end has ever won MVP of the league. I'm not sure that tight end has ever won MVP of anything. Now, there are a couple of people that you think of in their history. Oh, maybe, but I doubt it. And it's really hard for me to see anybody but a quarterback winning MVP. So maybe that's my
well, because the thing is, if George Kittle has a whole bunch of yards and a whole bunch of touchdowns, that means Jimmy Garoppolo threw him all those passes.
Right. And how do they not give it to the quarterback? They always give it to the quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I don't know. I have a hard time envisioning what Kittle could do to win the MVP over Garoppolo.
I mean, he'd have to take a bunch of screen passes to the house and dodge a bunch of blockers. And I don't know. He'd have to do something, like you said, really extraordinary to take it away from a quarterback. Or I mean, I don't even know. It's not going to go to running back because they have a running back by committee.
Well,
so it's not like you're going to go – it's not going to be like a Gurley situation.
Unless Mostert – that's how you pronounce it, I believe, repeats his performance from the NFC Championship because
that's true. What, 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, so Coleman had gone out injured, and he was the only guy. And so if he repeats that, he's got a shot. And the 49ers got a good shot. I mean, I like that he's back in the 49ers. They've pretty much been the best team in football all season. But I'm personally all behind the Kansas City Chiefs. They've got the momentum. And I guess I didn't watch enough of the 49ers in the playoffs, but what I saw, the Chiefs made me impossible to pick against them.
So the 49ers, I know we didn't have a show last week because we just, we didn't have time. Though I think the 49ers had 2 pretty easy-ish games compared to Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City was down double digits twice in both of those games, and they steamrolled the who they play the first, the Texans, right? They steamrolled the Texans after spotting them 21 or 24 points, whatever it was. And then Tennessee had a 10-point lead, and then they just steamrolled them too.
Well, there was one play that stood out to me. I think Tennessee was winning 17-10 at the time, and Mahomes scrambled for a touchdown, and it was just
I remember
unbelievable. That. And I was like, I'm not picking against this kid.
That was That was like a 40-yard scramble too. I think it was. Yep. It was. Yes, I do remember that play.
So I'll let you get your picks in a second. I'll finish mine. So I'm also taking the over. I mean, 35-21 is not out of the question for me. I think that both teams score more than 20 points easily. So 54, I mean, 35-21 puts you over that. 28-21 would be under. But I think once somebody goes over 30, both these teams have scored a lot of points all season long. I did some math earlier today, and I think each team had only 6 or 7 games where they scored less than 28 points. So the odds of them going over 28 points are high. And San Francisco has a good defense, very good defense. But Kansas City is not known for its defense. So the odds of both teams scoring are pretty high, in my opinion. And if the Chiefs win, I don't know how Mahomes doesn't win MVP. So you may agree with me across the board. We'll see in a second here. But that's where I'm laying right now heading into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I want to pick Kansas City because I still feel they were robbed last year. They were 100% robbed out of a Super Bowl last year. This is the redemption tour. They've lived up to it. And much like you, how do you bet against Mahomes? I mean, what they've done the last couple of weeks has just been – it's so much fun to watch him play. I root for the guy. I generally – obviously we're Giants and Jets fans over here, but if I had to pick an AFC team, I mean, I love watching Mahomes play. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, and it's fun to root for Andy Reid because he's just had a lot of success, but not a lot of playoff success. And for him to finally be back to the Super Bowl is kind of nice.
As far as score goes, I'm with you with the probably going to go over. That's a big number. The only thing that might make that go under is, Super Bowl, everyone's got the nerves and the jitters. And how many times, I mean, I do the Super Bowl squares because I love doing the boxes. I don't know if you do those.
I haven't.
How many times 0-0 comes in the first quarter is incredible. I've won twice in the last couple of years with the score being a 0-0. I know it happened in the Patriots game a few years ago when they played. I'm not going to remember what it is, but there's been a bunch of slow starts because of the nerves and the jitters and everyone's feeling each other out. Yeah. But I can see a second half where this just boom explodes.
Yeah, the Super Bowls tend to be lower scoring. You're right, and they do slow start. I just know that the last time the Chiefs really slow started, they won like 45-24.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. I think the first quarter and a half is going to be, again, more of a feel out period, and then you're going to see a lower score, and you're like, wow, this is never going to hit the over, and it's just going to go boom, because we saw Mahomes throw 4 touchdowns in the second quarter 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, so you like Kansas City and you like the over. So
it's going to be a late cover. Yeah, I think the over comes in really late.
And so and then you I mean,
if I'm going to give it a score, it's always tough.
You don't have to go an exact score. I was leaning towards MVP. I mean, is Mahomes your MVP? It's hard for the quarterback not to win unless it's the defense. But if they're going over, it's not the defense.
Well, let's just say they score a bunch of points, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where it comes from. Who other than Mahomes, other than like Kelsey, and like you said, they don't give it to a tight end. I mean, again, if you give it to Tyreek Hill, that means Mahomes threw him all these touchdowns. Who else would take it away from him at that point?
Yeah, it's hard to see because you're right. They got if the quarterback throws the touchdowns, that the receivers.
Yeah.
So it's rare that unless the Giants was a good example where the guy got the magic catch to win it, but he didn't get the MVP. So I mean.
Well, right, no, and Eli got that for throwing. And listen, we're not going to get into that debate because people are like, well, the defense won that game. Yes, it did, but you still got to score points too.
Right, and defense wins championships legitimately, right? But I temper it because the Super Bowl, it's easy for the defense to look good because the offense has got the jitters. But then the offense always wins it. I mean, the Patriots offense came back and beat the Falcons. People like to say the Falcons collapsed. I mean, that was really a Patriots comeback. So.
They collapsed. I think they played really conservative. Conservative.
Well, they did, and the Patriots are great at taking advantage of conservative defense.
The same reason the Texans lost to the Chiefs. I mean, they took their foot off the gas, and the Chiefs just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, but that was after one quarter.
Yeah, but they were up 24-0.
I guess.
You're right.
I don't know how you ever take the foot off the gas in the NFL, especially after a quarter. Maybe with a minute.
Well, I think they kind of went into slow down mode, and by the time they knew it hit them, it was already too late.
Yeah, I guess that was a fatal mistake.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I'm more excited for the Super Bowl than I have been in a long time. Maybe it's because the Patriots aren't playing, but also because the Chiefs are just so much fun to watch, and the 49ers are a great story. I mean. I'm not surprised they were good this year. I'm surprised they were this good. None of us picked them to go this far. You had the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I believe you picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl back in July.
So I think I did.
If they actually come through, I mean, that's a pretty solid prediction. Now, they were one of the better teams last year, obviously. And it was
kind of an easy, kind of a chalky pick, though.
It was a chalky pick, but
the chalk comes through sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, and it doesn't usually. So, I mean, New England has been a solid chalk pick up until this year, but it's still a good pick. I don't know. I'm happy.
I felt the way that their season ended last year with, I mean, literally, if the guy moves 3 inches back, they're going to the Super Bowl. It doesn't get called for offsides. They're going to win that game. I just feel like Kansas City was robbed, and they just used that as fuel this year to continue. Yeah. Again, we knew Mahomes wasn't going to throw 50 touchdowns, but he did what he had to do this year.
Well, and they got their defense improved, and they kind of showed that they don't really need a running game. I mean, they have a running game, but you can have a more one-dimensional offense and then just have complementary pieces. I mean, the 49ers put up a lot of points, but Garoppolo's not throwing the ball over the field. I mean, he does what he needs to do. He's more of a game manager. He's a flashy game manager, but he's more of a game manager archetype, in my opinion. So
yeah, I feel like the 49ers game plan is very much a lot more team oriented, whereas Kansas City it's Mahomes or bust. We're going to ride or die with him.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if Mahomes has a bad game, Kansas City's not going to win. If Garoppolo has a bad game, well, they have Mostert and they have a bunch of other things they can do. They're not relying on Jimmy G to throw the ball 50 yards down the field every time for a touchdown bomb.
No, and actually, their defense could win the game. They won
it's true too.
1 or 2 games like 9-6 this year, like a couple of them. So their defense can win. I don't think Kansas City's defense can win this football game. And like you said, I'm not sure anybody else but Mahomes can win it for them. But they could squeak out like a 17-10 victory, the Chiefs. I doubt it. They haven't won many that way this season, but it could happen.
Well, listen, like that. we go back to the first Giants-Patriots game. Patriots were scoring. That was the year Brady threw 50 touchdowns, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, and the Giants held them to 14 points. I mean, it's just the Super Bowl it's different. Everyone's watching you. I'll never play in one, but I have to assume it's pretty nerve-wracking.
Well, and you have 2 weeks to prepare, but basically your entire family's going to be bugging you the whole time. You show up and it's party central. You can party 24 hours a day at the Super Bowl. So your job is to not do any of that and shut the noise out. It's got to be tough, man. If you've never been there and especially you're a young guy, it's got to be tough.
Agreed.
So how familiar are you with the prop bets? I'm going to familiarize myself more at the end of this week. There's some crazy ones out there like Shanahan blowing a 21-3 lead again, or Andy Reid making a bad clock call at the end of the game. Those are really hard to pick. And then the Gatorade color one is always a yearly thing.
I'm not as versed as I have been in the past few years, to be quite honest with you. As we were talking, I was like, I should have looked at those before we started talking tonight.
Well, they're fun, but they're not. It's hard to put money on them because it's so arbitrary. Like the length of the national anthem in seconds.
That's standard.
Well, it's pretty standardized, but you're betting within a 5-second range. So like.
Oh yeah. No, but that's almost like that's a staple as far as NFL Super Bowl prop bets go. Yeah. And what is the national anthem? About 1:50 to 2 minutes, depending on who sings it. Yeah. So you're right. There's about a 5-second plus or minus.
Well, it occurred to me that almost every year we're flooded with pre-releases of Super Bowl commercials in the week to 2 weeks prior to the big game. I haven't seen any this year. Is that like a bad omen for our economy that these companies are not over promoting their Super Bowl commercials in advance of the game? Because I was just realizing I haven't really seen any, but you always see them online in advance. At least the last 3 or 4 years.
That's a good point. I'm hoping it's the opposite in that they don't want to spoil the surprise, because that's listen, we know some of these people that watch Super Bowl could care less about the game. Like, I just watch for the commercials. Whatever. Who could the TV people don't care. They just want the rating. Yeah. I did see one I think I was scrolling through Facebook, and there's going to be a Groundhog Day commercial with Bill Murray reprising his role as Phil Connor. So I know that's in the works. And I saw another one, and it's going to slip my mind, but I saw two that were, I didn't watch them, but I saw an article that says there's 2 Super Bowl ads. One's like, again, the Bill Murray one, which would be great, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I love the ads. I mean, I got to, was it last year or the year before, I was in a spot that aired during the Super Bowl. So it's fun. It's big. It's awesome.
Wait, which one was that?
I was in a Geico spot, and so they're the sponsor of.
Wait, was that wasn't the George Washington one, was it?
Yes.
That was last year?
No, I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought it was a little longer ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. My point is they're fun, and like I like watching for the commercials, even though I want to watch the game and like you got to go pee, but I want to watch these commercials. But when they're all announced in advance, it did spoil something, but then it also kind of like had a buzz build up. I know that we're filming this Tuesday, so Wednesday's like media day, right?
Right.
There seems to be a tempered hype, and now maybe it's because of everything going on in the world, and unfortunately we lost Kobe Bryant the other day, so maybe it's kind of tempered the buzz around the Super Bowl up until the end of the week here. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to watch the game. It just feels a little quieter.
I think what happened on Sunday did put a little bit of a I think it did. Other than that, you're right, though. Let's just say that, what happened on Sunday didn't happen. There hasn't been as much hype, even the week before.
Yeah.
Before this week, there really hasn't been a lot of, like, there's no bulletin board material. There's no one, like, making quotes. You're right. There's no juice yet.
No, what I've seen are photos of Mahomes and Garoppolo buddy. And I'm like, are you supposed to be like this going at each other? Like, so, I don't know.
They should be.
Well, and it's also interesting to wonder, like, with the fact that we have a virus spreading, we don't really understand it. How many people are going to travel internationally for the Super Bowl? I mean, what's the international travel rate for the Super Bowl normally? And then what are they going to do about it? Is it going to have them? Like, I mean, I'm assuming the game's going to be sold out. That's kind of a given. But I don't know the domestic versus foreign attendance.
It probably depends where it is. Obviously, the Super Bowl is in Miami, so anyone coming over from China where this coronavirus is, at least started. If the Super Bowl was in LA, yeah, that might be a little easier. But now,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the
No,
difference
I
between
guess that
domestic attendance, but
yeah, Miami's far for Asia, but it definitely is an international city. So I'm just thinking in general, if that's tempered people's desire to travel.
well, from what I've heard from this thing, it's more like it's more of a cold than it is a deadly disease, right? Am I saying that right?
Yes, we don't need to get into the virus discussion here because I'm not pretending to be
Yeah,
an
me
expert,
neither.
but I think it takes 2 weeks to really see that you have serious symptoms, and then by that point, untreated, it's too late. But
Well, I have a friend who's a nurse, and he said just drink a lot of water. So it sounds
right,
like
well,
it's not
so
as
I think in our country we are well prepared to maybe not even notice you ever had it in the first place. But in some of these other countries, which are overpopulated to the extreme and don't have the health services for the poor, obviously running rampant. But those are the people traveling for the Super Bowl anyway, so maybe it's
right,
a moot point.
right.
Maybe they don't even know what's going on. I don't know. Yeah, we're
It's
so
tough
wrapped up
when
in
there's
our own
only.
stuff here. It's like, how do you
Yeah,
not
you're right.
know?
All right, so you have Kansas City winning, you have them covering, obviously, right? And then you got the under or the
Yeah,
over.
they're covering. It's -1, so yeah, I think they'll cover. And then I like the over. No, I like the over. I think they go. I think it's over. I we haven't had a really high scoring Super Bowl in a while, and this feels like it with the Chiefs.
Well, it wasn't last year's Patriots. Wait, oh no, it was 2 years ago. The Patriots Eagles game was like 54-40 something. Like that was the one that went in overtime.
Oh, because it went overtime.
Yeah.
Man, I got a short memory. The Jets' bad seasons just
Well,
crushed
no,
my brain.
you are remembering correctly. Last year was a dud, an absolute dud of a football game. It was like what 12-9 or something like that. It was really low scoring.
Only Patriots fans enjoyed it because they won back to back. That was the only thing. Only Patriots fans enjoyed that football game.
Yeah, that was a very very poor Super Bowl. Hopefully this one is a lot better, and I think it will be.
And so, Mandi, co-owner BuzzChomp, is a Patriots fan because she grew up in Boston. We met at BU. And so I'm thrilled that they're not in the Super Bowl because I don't have to hear it chirping in my ear, trash talking me, even though I'm technically I'll root for her team because it's a supportive thing to do, but she still trash talks me as a Jets fan, regardless. So,
That's not even fair. You have no leg to stand on there. It's you can't even fight back.
no, when I first met her family, like I used to get crap about being a Jets fan, and then they just stopped. So because they just stopped. We'll talk Yankees, Red Sox, but they don't even say anything anymore about the Jets. They're just too bad.
Because at that point it's like, well, we said everything.
Well, you know what? I was there with them on Thanksgiving, watching the butt fumble game, me rooting for the Jets and everyone else rooting for the Patriots. That was the defining moment. I don't think they ever made fun of me about the Jets ever again because of that debacle.
Yeah, it's not fair.
All right. So,
we have a little bit of Giants news coming, or at least that's happened the last couple of weeks, right?
They have stocked their staff with ex-head coaches. This is exciting.
I made the joke yesterday. I think it was yesterday. So yesterday they hired Freddie Kitchens as their tight end coach. So I made the joke about he went from managing 53 guys to 2. That's that's the fall from grace that he's gotten right now. Now I don't know anything about him. Maybe he's a good again. I I really do believe that there are some guys that are better coordinators than there are head coaches.
You know he's a very good coordinator because he was a coordinator with Cleveland and got promoted to head coach. So
well, we're still not sure how it happened, but
he did something right to make Cleveland like him enough.
He said something, right? Yeah, who knows? But good. Hey, listen, it worked.
Maybe it just was he wasn't Greg Williams, and nobody seemed to like Greg Williams, even though Greg Williams is pretty awesome at what he does on defense. But so the Giants went from having very little experience on their staff. Now they've just stacked it. They got Garrett with like over 10 years of head coaching experience. Kitchen's got a head coaching experience. You get a ton of head guys with head coaching experience in your staff, and they are going to just do wonders. I mean,
we hope.
Head coach is a completely different ballgame, and now they don't have to worry about anything but the tight ends or but the offense. Yet they have that background. It's kind of a cool thing to do.
I think the last time we chatted, Garrett had not yet been hired. I think it was just Joe Judge, right? So I had said, and I still believe this. I'm fine with Garrett as long as he's not the head coach. He wants to be the O coordinator. I'm perfectly okay with that.
and he was another one who did a very good job, in quotes, as the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys and got promoted.
Right.
Like, he stuck it out there a long time and got promoted, and then he did okay with the Cowboys offense. And now, I think that he's a good hire too because they've got a great quarterback and they got a great running back, and that was what he was working with in Dallas.
Now but now he has younger versions of those. He has a younger version in Daniel Jones and a better running back, in my opinion, than Zeke because Zeke can't really catch as well as Barkley can, and he's not as elusive. He's not as powerful as Zeke, but he's a lot quicker than he is.
Yeah, you damn well sure Barkley will have a better season than he did this past one.
Right.
And Judge is an interesting guy, but to surround Judge, who's a first-time head coach with a ton of guys that have a lot of experience, is a smart move. Now, he's making these decisions. I think he brought Kitchens over because he used to work with him at Mississippi State, too. So he's keeping it in the family, which is good. I mean, I didn't like the coup that went on at the Jets, but I liked that Adam Gase went and got his guy for GM that he was friends with because it ensures some sort of – it's easier to be successful when you already like the guy you're working with and you already agree with him on strategy. So –
And the crap about when they were talking about Joe Judge, like, well, he was the Patriots wide receivers coach, and look what happened there. Yeah, look what happened. They won 12 games with nothing, with no wide receivers. So, we're forgetting that piece of that,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'm not exactly sure how many seasons he was with the Patriots at wide receivers coach, but they always got a lot out of very little at that position. So,
and that's right. And no one brought that fact up. They're always like, well, the Patriots didn't have any receivers. How good can he be? Well, they won 12 games with not having any receivers, so he must have been doing something right.
Now, the one thing that can either be a good thing for the Giants or a bad thing is that they've maintained the general manager. Hopefully,
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
And hopefully he hits on the draft. I mean,
he's hitting the last two. He's 2 for 2, isn't he?
Well, yes. I felt this way about Mike McCagnon this time last year because I went through and I looked at all his top picks. It's easy to hit your first round pick. It's the third and fourth and fifth round picks that become starters that you need, that makes you a good guy in the draft, right?
How about Darius Slayton?
Yeah, so I'm not here to judge Gettleman, right? My point is, I liked McCagnon's track record, but then once he was fired and I sought to see a little bit more information, I realized he was absolutely terrible at picking guys after the first round that actually panned out into solid players. So, because that's how you can't build a roster with first round picks. You need the other guys to actually play better than anticipated.
Agreed.
Like, I don't know if you've seen the Aaron Hernandez documentary. It's pretty.
I haven't. I have to get to it.
It's pretty interesting, but the Patriots took Gronkowski the same year they drafted Hernandez. They just picked him later because of all he fell because of all the off-the-field questions, which turned out to be true. But they ended up with 2-star tight ends because they got him later in the draft, is my point. So, yeah, I don't know how the Jets or the Giants GM will do in the draft this year, but the Giants got a good first-round pick. It's gonna add a nice extra talent to their roster. I don't know.
I'm almost okay, and we'll probably do this when we do more of a draft show, and maybe we'll know what they're going to do, but I'm perfectly fine if they trade out of the first round and accumulate more picks in this draft. So many holes to fill. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Right, and that strategy is excellent if you can draft good players.
Yes. To your point, yes, you have to be able to make the picks, right?
And so I want the Jets to keep their first-round pick because they really need an offensive lineman, and they should be able to get one there, or even trade up for one of the top guys because that's just been killing them. The Giants too, so they might have to go lineman, which is flashy, but it's definitely a good pick. We're going to get deep into the draft. We could probably do a whole show on the Giants, a whole show on the Jets. I want to talk the XFL in the next week or two as well. The season kicks off the weekend immediately following the Super Bowl. So I think February 8th, I believe, it kicks off.
Yep.
And there are 8 teams, so 4 games, and they're in all markets where the NFL sits. I got a nice article on BuzzChomp. I'll plug myself. Go read it. I did a little background. I read the wikis, and I just think I'm excited for the XFL because it's not trying to be the NFL, and it shouldn't be, and it's never going to be, but it can be its own thing, and it's positioning itself rather nicely. But like I said, I would love to get into the XFL because there won't be any other NFL news after the Super Bowl, ideally.
And you got to think one of these leagues has got to at least have a little bit of sustainability, right? I mean, this is their second go round, obviously. So hopefully you learn from all the mistakes from the first time. You learn, you have enough money like the AAF didn't. So I don't think they'll have enough. They won't have a problem with that. Vince has got plenty of money, so they're not going to go bankrupt. But it's just learn from your mistakes is hopefully what they're doing this time.
Well, and everyone has heard of the XFL. They don't necessarily know why, but they've heard of it, which helps.
Yep. It has a little brand recognition, right?
Now, I don't know.
Well, I think that's 30 for 30 documentary.
That's an interesting way to pronounce that word.
that came out a couple of years ago. I think kind of refueled the, everyone's remembrance of it.
And football is so popular that there's no reason a semi-pro league can't survive. Now, it's whether or not they're willing to call themselves semi-pro like the minor league baseball. I mean, that's what it's going to be. The product is not on the professional level, but it can still be fun and exciting. And I like the rules changes they've made. Like I said, I want to do a whole show on this because I really think they've changed a lot of good rules that can make the game more fun and move faster and feel different enough that you actually enjoy it, regardless of the fact that you don't necessarily know the guys. Now, we might know some guys. There are NFL players.
You'll know a couple. There was some. I know we mentioned a couple weeks ago. Was it Ocho Cinco trying to be a kicker? I don't know if that actually panned out or not. Did you find anything out?
He skipped his workout, so I don't know why, but he decided not to go.
All right, so he's probably not going to be on a roster then.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but
he can be the mascot. I mean, he's just a fun guy.
So. Yeah, but you're right. Hopefully, it's there's enough differences that it makes it more fun to watch again.
Yeah,
because that was the problem the first go around. It's just the football was so bad. It was just impossible to watch. I actually thought some of the AAF stuff was not, wasn't cringeworthy, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Well, the first go around, the XFL was trying to play the exact same game as the NFL. And even college football has some different rule tweaks to kind of complement the high-scoring offense, the no defense. So when arena football has worked well because, again, it's focusing on a certain aspect of the game in a different combine. So, I think Arena League is still going unless it folded. I don't know.
I think it folded. Like recently,
right,
though.
Recently,
it was within the last couple of years.
It had a good run, but well, we're gonna wrap it up here. Any other final Super Bowl thoughts? Like I said, I don't want to overkill the XFL because it's definitely its own topic.
Yeah. No, I'm rooting for my Super Bowl squares and rooting for Mahomes.
Email me the squares. I want to see how these work. I've never been introduced to the squares. I just hear you guys talking about it. I want to see how.
If I had, I do want it work, and if we had this conversation yesterday, I might have had an extra box open, but I'm pretty sure they're all full.
No. I don't need to. I'm okay not participating. I just want to see how it works.
Oh yeah, it's yeah.
I don't remember if you said it to me last year, but I have limited memory sometimes. So.
Yeah, well, I'll get you in on it next year. It's really simple and it's completely random, so there's no skill involved whatsoever. It's just based on the score after each quarter.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is. It's completely random.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. But that's fun because then you don't have to think about it. You can just kind of play along, like bingo.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Well, my lone thought is that I really hope the Super Bowl halftime show this year is watchable because it was just terrible last season.
Well, it's J-Lo and Shakira.
Oh, they're good performers, and then their outfits will be sexy, so it's probably going to be okay. All right, well, enjoy the big game. I'm excited.
What's the best thing to eat on Super Bowl?
Oh, some form of wings.
Is it? That's your go-to?
That's what we always make. Now we're vegetarian, so Mandi makes an amazing tofu buffalo wing. Like, it's just awesome. They're vegan buffalo wings. They're so good, and like they're crunchy, and like you would like them. My dad likes them, and he's so skeptical on the whole matter. So I know it sounds. No, they're delicious. They're so crunchy and good that I love them. And we sometimes we do chili and cornbread. It's like that's somehow that became a football meal for us.
Well, it's like tailgating food, basically.
Yes, there we go. What's your go-to?
Oh, put mini weenies in any kind of sauce, barbecue sauce or ketchup, or I love them. You can pop them all day.
I would say, I love pigs in a blanket, but I didn't eat them on Christmas. My mother-in-law makes them, but I held off. I do miss them, but I held off. You could make little veggie dogs, right?
You could. Yeah, what do you wrap a carrot in something?
No. We would buy veggie dogs at the grocery store, but
Oh,
they
okay.
make a point. They make everything veggie now. It's just a little different.
I know, that's true.
All
All
right.
right, well, we'll try and get back next week because we'll be fresh off the NFL and start right into the XFL, right?
Yep. We got to kick off the season with the new league.
And end one and start another one.
Very good. That's how it should
Excellent.
be.
Thanks for watching BuzzChomp.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Share.
Woo.